And away we go. All right, welcome back to another wonderful live stream here in the middle of the morning, night. Call it what you want to. On Top Rope Wrestling Talk, and I am your host Dom, of course, and with me as always is Evil Evan. I'd love to do the sound bites. I can't get to him, so sorry guys. Hi Eric, I see you watching. I'm gonna wave too. So we had a pretty long but good pay-per-view, and Wendy had to tap out because she was CP, but she was able to send me the spreadsheet from the Top Ropatron 3000, and we do have the list of champions from tonight's pay-per-view. So I think we should probably start there because I know there were some people that are anxious. All right, so we'll go, I guess, from kind of top to bottom here. The winner of the AEW ring, and this is fitting, is none other than the high class mark, Brucey.
You.
What are you, the soundboard? My wife, who doesn't want to get on camera, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Bruce wins the ring. Go figure. I think the shit's fixed, but. And then AEW tag team champs are none other than Paul and our man Bojack from the admin team. All right, represent.
There.
So we got two. We got two so far. That's cool. I'm digging it. And of course, tonight we're going to crown the first ever TNT champion. And that man who came in second overall and first new TNT champion is Joe Dawkins. What's up, baby? Congratulations. You made history. You are the Cody of Top Rope Wrestling Talk.
Congrats.
Right.
History.
And of course, there's two belts left. So I'll start with the AEW Women's Champion, which is, God damn, once again, none other than my wife, Kathy, sitting off camera.
Yes.
Like, more gold. I was hoping my son was so close. He was just outside of title contention, or we'd have a whole ass golden family. Wendy's watching. What? Hi, Wendy. Good to see you.
Thought you were going to
Jammy. That's adorable.
Let's start with the TNT. No, we're building up. So now we get to first place, the winner of the prediction form, the winner of the AEW title, the whole damn night, as far as I'm concerned. The one and only blue-haired meanie herself, Hope. Wow, chicken. Congratulations. I think now we've had 3 AEW champions so far, maybe 4, and at least 2 of them have been women. So, because here at Top Rope, we still believe in intergender wrestling, okay? Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to go into like where Evil Evan and I ended up landing. It wasn't a good spot. It wasn't as bad as Wendy because she was dead last.
Yeah.
Like the only question she got right was her name. That was it.
Yeah.
End of list.
And even then, I think maybe she forgot to capitalize, but we let it slide.
Right, like she didn't capitalize the B in her last name. And we're like, I could, but nah. Sympathy.
Up or down. Yeah. It was a good show. Good show, nonetheless. I'm happy to be wrong.
Exactly.
Never before have I been more happy to be wrong than with my prediction.
I love that, dude. Eric's like, oh, intergender AEW champion, Tessa, eat your heart out. Yeah, it's happened twice now. Actually, we had one before Tessa won it. If you want to get technical, go back, look in the albums. You'll see. I think the first champion ever was like Big Mama Tatum in the group, Sharon, and that was pretty cool. But speaking of pretty cool, this show, even though I mean, what was it like 4 hours and some change? It was damn good. And I know before everybody kind of tapped out and went to bed, didn't realize it was going to be over at like midnight. We had planned a certain segment for after the pay-per-view, and as I'm getting to it here, that segment was the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's not working. Of course it's not working. Why would anything? Let's try this one more time. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So I guess it's I gotta be honest, it's hard to come up with a bad and an ugly, but I'll figure something out. But I've been talking long enough. Let's throw it over to Evil Evan here. What would, if you had to pick out your good from this show? What would it be?
If we're gonna go good, I'm gonna go, with Precious right off the top of my head. It's that main event. It's that Stadium Stampede. Clearly showing that AEW knows how to do mayhem right. Like this was like brawls in the locker room. They were in the stands. They were on the field. They were everywhere,
Right?
and
Everywhere.
it was but it all made sense. It
had
all flowed. It
we
wasn't
had
bad
in one match.
comedy.
In one match, we had a stampede, a barroom brawl. We had a pool of reincarnation. We had like a like a, I don't even know what to call it, fight, that area that Kenny got put through the makeshift table by proud powerful. It was just, there was just shit like popping up. There were little
Yeah,
pieces here and there
we
and
got a
everywhere.
horse.
Like we had a horse. We had
A
Sammy
horse.
Guevara of all. Sammy Guevara get friggin' locomotion suplexed 100 yards and then jump up when the sprinklers hit him and said, "I won."
Dude, we had Kenny Omega taking a shot of milk. I mean, come on, how great was that, right?
Oh,
It
no,
was like
it was wonderful. Like I was like,
Yeah.
is that? Wait, if you squint your eyes, Kenny Omega kind of looks like Kurt Angle right now.
Yeah, but I mean, right when we are fresh off of the WWE giving us this Money in the Bank pre-tape, quote unquote cinematic match with Doink the Clown and Brother Love making horrible cameos, like
I know.
AEW giving it to us the right way, showing us that you can have funny, you can have drama, and like you said, Sammy running from the cart, and then what about Neo, the new
Neo
drone?
won. Oh yeah,
It was
that
like,
was
I'm
amazing.
telling you, this match. Never once did I look at my watch or my clock or whatever to say, how long has this been going on? But with Money in the Bank, I was like, really? Seriously? When Dana Brooke took that, the fake belt, the fake, the room, and I was like, really? But this, they were going from room to room. Like you said, they were in a bar. They were backstage. There was a horse. Come on, I got a horse.
A freaking horse.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh my god! And even that, I honestly, I thought Hangman was dead after that slam on top of the pool table. I was like, oh,
yeah,
because I don't know if you've ever been in a bar fight, but I have, and I've been slammed on those pool tables, and that's not nice. Yeah. That is not nice at all.
That marble slate, it's not giving at all. No way.
No, not even close. I think I would have rather landed on the concrete than the goddamn slate.
Than the actual pool table. Yeah, if I had to go with my good, that would be it. That was it right there. It was mayhem. It was comedy. It was more than I could ever have imagined that they're giving us. It was like
there was so much. I may end up turning these bad and uglies into good stuff because, like, I don't want to suck up to. I'm not trying to suck up to AEW, but it was a damn good show. Like, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, which one do I want to throw my good at right now? Because there's so
many,
freaking many. Like, but I gotta say, considering the circumstances, the way the division has been, and even on the pre-show we talked about it a little bit. I'm gonna give my good to Shida versus Nyla. taking the women's, she'd have taken the women's championship and everything. Like that was a beautiful moment, especially considering what happened, because you saw the tribute at the front of the show here, and it just felt right at the time. Like, I'm not even sure that was their plan going in, and then once they realized what had happened to Hana, they were like, you know what, maybe we should do this. Like last minute, we're gonna do this. Forget it. Like I know we had this plan. Figure out a different finish or something. We're gonna do this. I don't blame them if they did.
Shout out to Nyla Rose with the jaw jacking with the crowd, and you always bet on Black line.
And puts it right through the crowd. Always bet on Black.
Yeah, that was good stuff. That's I definitely give her credit for that. Where they go with this division now with Shida as champ, who they pull. I thought maybe Britt Baker was going to be the next in line for a title shot, but we just saw with the announcement of her torn ACL, going to be gone for a while. I'm curious to see what they do with Shida. Where do they go with her? Who's her next challenger? Is it I thought maybe Penelope Ford, same thing, was going to be on a little bit of a roll, but we saw Statlander take care of her.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I guess the next one in line would be Statlander at this point, because she's second in the rankings. She won again tonight. So I guess it's either Statlander or they have a rematch with Nyla, because we don't know now that Nyla doesn't have the title. Where does she fall in the rankings?
Fall in the rankings, exactly.
Because she's had a good record. I think she's been she was like 5-0 this year before COVID kind of shut her down for a while, and then she came back, got a couple more wins, so she might be like top 3 to begin with. So maybe there's a rematch, maybe there's Statlander. I can't see much else at this point with Britt being out and people kind of. But it was a great match though. Like we were saying,
a new focus back on that women's division. For a while with Nyla gone, that belt kind of was on the back burner. And they definitely brought, some attention to that division. These women, hard fought battle, and I can't complain.
Oh yeah, no, me either. And I think, at first, yes, the AEW women's division was just whack. It was god awful, because they had just gotten a lot of this talent on the roster. Nobody really knew each other except for maybe here or there on the indies, and a lot of people hadn't worked with a lot of other people, so it looked sloppy. But as time has gone on, like fast forward a year, it looks completely different from when they first started debuting women at Double or Nothing. Like we had the whole Kong and Smiley and Britt back at the first one, and yeah, I mean, it was a good match, but even at the same time, Nyla too, and it just didn't seem to flow. It looked sloppy. Things were like, you were like, man, I don't know about this women's division. Like they got names, but what the fuck is this? And eventually, as they kind of got around each other, got that chemistry, and figured out, what each other can do, they've improved in leaps and bounds. So they still have a long way to go, but that was probably the best match in the women's division since day one. Like I loved it from start to finish. I picked Nyla to win, and I wasn't even mad when she lost, which is something else that I brought up in the pre-show. Like, I would be mad if she'd won, but it's going to be a great match. It could possibly be the best women's match they've had. It could possibly steal the show, and it damn near did steal the show if the show wasn't so good.
Yeah. On a normal show, this would have been one of the top match of the night possibly, but these guys, they went all out. AEW, I definitely give them a credit for the fact that this was supposed to be going on in Vegas. They had a big show planned, and when shit hit the fan, they were determined to still deliver and give the fans what they deserve.
And I think they did, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, but that's what I mean. That's what makes these harder. Is like now we got to come up with something bad. And I'm thinking about it.
I would say if I had to be like that guy who nitpicked and wanted to dissect what was maybe not the greatest match, I would say maybe Dustin and Sean Spears.
I would say like more importantly, like the constant jobbing out of Sean Spears.
Yeah,
because obviously he came from a situation where he was hot shit, and then he got totally jobbed out, and then he got thrown out. And when he came in and he started this whole chairman gimmick, you thought, oh, they're really going to push him. And then once he lost to Cody, that whole push just kind of went.
I thought for sure when we saw this new Sean Spears new segment, it was like, the whole ticker and the graphic and him and like
Yeah.
Dreamcaster.
As I called it, the Jeremiah Constantine ripoff.
I thought this was perhaps going to be a start of a new direction for him. Maybe Dustin wouldn't show up even. It would be a 10 count, and he would get the easy win. Maybe Dustin would come out. He would be the one to come out in regular street clothes saying, like, what are you doing calling me out? I'm not even ready for a fight. And
right.
Spears would get the cheap win. Something. They repackaged the guy, told he's not showing up with the virus. He's, at risk, so they get him out of the picture. They need something to do with Sean Spears. I thought this would be the perfect time. You give him the new network, give him an easy win today against Dustin, who can afford the loss. Let's admit it.
Right.
Dustin can win or lose, and he's not going to lose any respect in our hearts. But Sean Spears needed the win today. He needed more than to be caught running around with his, ass hanging out. I thought that totally hurt his character. and at this point, really, what did you do with the guy? I can't picture him coming back to any kind of credible feud.
And if anybody knows Sean Spears, can they get a hold of him and ask him where he got those wonderful boxers with Tully Blanchard on the crotch?
Yeah.
I would so rock them. They'll get my wife going. So she's over here shaking her head in disgust while polishing her women's title is what she's just shaking her head like, oh, you poor thing. But those were so cool. We even had the idea, just randomly brought up the idea beforehand when Bruce talked about merch, about coming out with thongs for ladies with our faces on them. I still believe it's a good idea. Even Kathy's kind of sitting here smiling like, I'd totally rock that as long as you get me one that has not your face on it.
Right.
I've had enough of... Oh God, but yeah, I'm trying to think of something bad, and the one thing, and it wasn't even on the pay-per-view, it was on the buy-in that got to me, was Private Party did win the number one contenders match. And as I had said earlier in the pre-show, where would their tag division really be if it weren't for Private Party in the beginning? Because when everybody was going off about how, the tag tournament and the Bucks are going to win. We all know the Bucks are going to win. And then who takes them out in the first round? Private Party. Since then, and they were hot coming into this, whole Dynamite debut from there on. And then all of a sudden they just kind of faded back again, kind of went away, kind of had the COVID shutdown. And I thought it would have been a perfect opportunity to get these guys back in the spotlight.
Light them back up again.
Yep. Give them a shot at the tag titles. Maybe even put the tag titles on them. Because, obviously it looks like Hangman and Kenny are a little bit better off than they were. But it's still shaky. So maybe that's a way to, get the titles off of them. And finally, come to a resolution with this whole Hangman and the Elite bullshit. But instead, best friends win again. I'm not a huge fan of that tag team, to be honest, but I just thought this was your perfect opportunity to do something with Private Party after they kind of did a big thing for you and shut people up when this all began and just kind of stepped back when you wanted them to. So this would have been the perfect time. They didn't do it. That did get me mad a little bit. I went into the pay-per-view kind of like, fuck, it's going to be that night. And then I found out I was horribly wrong later on in more ways than one because I didn't do good on the forum either. But I didn't care. Fuck a title. This is beautiful. I got 16 titles. I don't give a shit. This shit right here. This shit behind me.
No, but I get you. I get you that. Yeah, the Private Party, this would have been a perfect time to get them from, the back burner back onto the fire, get them reheated, get them going.
It just seems like, and I don't want to get too deep into it because I think this is one of the things that we're going to talk about Thursday with our special guest, but it just seems like all the teams, whether it be Private Party or the Lucha Brothers or Santana and Ortiz, they all kind of did big things. They came in, they were hot at one point or another. You had the Lucha Brothers with the AAA tag championships, defending them against the Bucks in that crazy ladder match before AEW even had tag titles. And then once they did, it was like, oh, Lucha Bros, whatever.
Yeah.
Private Party. Not Private Party. Proud and Powerful came in, beat down the Bucks, beat down the Rock and Roll Express, like just laid everybody out. And now all of a sudden, every time you turn around, they're the ones getting laid out. And it's like, wait a minute.
The henchmen.
But but it's okay because Best Friends is the number one contender. It's like nothing against them. I've watched them since like New Japan, but are they really on that level of like Santana and Ortiz or Pentagon and Phoenix? Even Private Party. I know they're young, but are they really on that same level? Because Private Party kind of carried that match and still lost.
Yeah, to me, it seems like clearly the component that's over is Orange Cassidy, and Best Friends there by default, by osmosis or whatever, by hanging
they're
out
over by association.
Yeah, there you go. That's the one I'm looking for. Yeah, pretty much like
when they brought
the spot of their matches when Orange Cassidy comes out, when he comes out interferes, when he gets off his ass and comes in the ring, that's when the crowd pops.
Or when they hug.
Yeah.
And when they hug, I just think of Bailey, and I'm not a hugger. So fuck all that. I want to.
This should have been the time for Private Party. This should have been the time with the focus being more of the story behind the actual tag. The division between the tag champs. The fact that Omega and Ken and Hangman can't get along. We need actual focus on the actual tag team that does get along. Private Party, this would have been the time. Get them going. Get Pride and Powerful back in the mix. You get Lucha Bros back in the mix. You have such amazing tag teams that the story doesn't need to be about the team, breaking up, but more about the actual chemistry that the team's involved.
Yeah,
and, there was a little bit of a drop ball by giving it to the Best Friends. Because, like I said, I don't see it.
It just feels like there are so many good tag teams in AEW.
Yeah.
And there may even be more once this waiting period is over from all the guys from Black Wednesday or the Firing Squad, whatever you want to call it. And you're pushing like Best Friends and a couple of guys from the Elite that aren't the Bucks. I don't get it. Like, I'm not saying it ain't good. I'm just saying I don't get it. Because you have one of the deepest tag divisions in wrestling, and you're like, let's just use these guys. Eventually, that deep tag team division is just going to go, you know what? Maybe we need to go somewhere else. I thought this was going to be different. Bye. And they'll have offers, because Lord knows WWE be hiring eventually. That was about the only bad thing I could think of. I guess we can try and move on to the ugly. If I gotta be honest, man, if I had to think of anything, it would kind of be the way they built up Mike Tyson's role coming in. Like, he can walk around the ring. He can be as brutal as he wants. He can knock out anybody he wants. He can do whatever. And then they get Mike there, and he sits down with the title. And at one point, I swear to God, my man was doing an Orange Cassidy impression. He was nodding over there.
That's what I was going to classify as ugly. Because that we watched the show. So we saw Tyson gets involved. He chases away Jake. He rips off his shirt. Looks like $1 million. But to the haters, to the WWE fanboys who want to knock AEW for every chance they get, we're going to get that still shot of Tyson,
asleep. This is how good Double or Nothing was.
You're going to get the neck beards coming out. Oh, this is what you're paid $50 for. This is your alternative.
I have to say it.
That's the only thing. They happened to catch him at the wrong moment. It's
and
like
that's why it was so ugly.
You scratch your nose at the red light in the car next to you.
It wasn't just the fact. It wasn't just the fact that they built him up like that, and then he just kind of sat there, and he did go after people, take his shirt off, but he never threw a punch. It wasn't just that. It was more. It was more that, like, that one moment, and that will turn into a meme, and that meme will gas up Muppets nationwide. Like, just nation fucking wide. And this isn't working again. I love my technology. It's great. Just fucking Muppets. This one's for you, Hope.
Waka waka.
5th time's a charm, apparently. Just sitting here.
AEW champion Hope.
AEW champion, Hope. Of course, she won the title. I had to use, I had to use Muppets. That's her thing.
Same way
that
you gotta
became
call
our
her
thing.
Doctor. Same way you gotta call her Dr. Britt Baker with that respect. You gotta show Hope her respect.
Dr. Shorty H. you know.
But,
But yeah, it was definitely an ugly moment for me just because of the whole thing. And you touched on the biggest part of it is like now anybody that hate that just doesn't like it or is just one of these WWE fanboys or Muppets in general, they're gonna jump all over this and they're gonna post that meme, they're gonna run their mouths, and AEW gave them the opportunity to do it just because they threw Tyson on camera and dude looked like he was sleeping. It's like, do not put him on camera. I don't care if he is. Let him nap and then wake him up when it's time. But do not put him on camera. Oh, shit, you put him on camera.
that was a bad call for the production truck. They should have not have gone to that shot.
And again, I'm trying really hard, guys, to come up with bad and uglies here because even these moments are not that big a deal or a big part of the pay-per-view. But that's really...
that was still an amazing match. That moment when Cody won and the
Oh, God. Yeah. No, that was such a... Again, I had picked this whole tournament right leading up to the finals. And so when it came to it, I had picked Archer on the show. I was sticking with Archer. And Cody won. And I wasn't mad for a second. I was like, oh, my God, he finally won the big one. Because he can win any match on Dynamite, on Dark, on whatever else. But then you put him at a pay-per-view. And they've had 4, and he's lost 3, or he's lost 2. He's had a draw, and he beat his brother. That's his whole right. Like he had a championship match, he lost. He went up against MJF, he lost.
Out of all the matches that was on that prediction sheet, out of the whole rundown, this is the one that the rest were like click, pretty confident. This is the one that I sat there and I could have flipped the coin, I could have rolled the dice, however you want to word it. But this is the one that either way, they both deserved the win. They both needed the win. But as you said, I'm not upset. Regardless, one of them was going to lose and one of them was going to win. And I was going to be happy with either outcome.
I think
I definitely thought Archer was going to come in with like a madman on fire. I thought he was going to destroy Cody and, further that like Cody just can't win storyline.
Yeah.
When Cody pulled it off, I was like, hell yeah, Cody. Hell yeah, you and that.
Yeah, we had just been talking in the pre-show about how, like, again, not just the Young Bucks, but everybody that falls into that Muppet category would say, oh, well, they're starting their own company because they're going to put the belts on themselves. Like, Cody's going to win the AEW title, and the Bucks are going to win the tag titles. And so instead, they came out and they put other people over. They gave other people title runs. They took Cody out of the title picture altogether. And now these Muppets are sitting there saying, oh, well, if the Elite are so great, why aren't they pushing them? How come they can't win titles? This and that and the other. And I was saying, what's the formula? Like, how many belts can the Elite hold before you stop whining? Or how many's too many? Because now they got the TNT title and tag titles. Is that too much?
I'm waiting for tomorrow morning for the hate. I'm literally gonna wake up tomorrow morning. I'm expecting to see all the Cody putting himself over, and he his own company, so he courts, he gets the belt. I'm expecting it already, and so
like, how many times has he lost?
I'm talking about as promoters, I think they understand that themselves, and they realize, what, when the story tells itself and the story is told properly and correct, who cares who hates on it? Because there's been so many great movies out there, so many great TV shows that have garnered their own fair share of hate. But when it's done right, you can't argue it.
I once had, because the shirt kind of reminds me of it, and I know you're a fan, I once had a very wise man tell me that a promotion is kind of like the Force. You have to have a balance. You can't just squash the Elite and make them lose every title match. People will turn off the TV. You got to let them win a title here and there. You can't just put all the titles on the Elite. You have to let some other guys get in and win them, and then you can come in and win them later, and you lose them later because there's always another week, another event, another pay-per-view. You have to have that balance where you kind of have, this is the Elite, so obviously they're going to have championships. Look at the fucking name. But
Yeah.
doesn't mean we're not going to put the Inner Circle over and put Jericho with the title and have this faction run wild for a while, because we can come back and at a show like Double or Nothing, we could dominate. Because that's what they did. You know, they won the Stampede. They won the TNT title match. They didn't have any other matches. The Elite went out undefeated. You know, and the Inner Circle probably, you know, went out. Most of them were barely half conscious, and Sammy might have been dead. But we don't. It'd be all right. He'd be all right. He dies every week. He gets hit by golf carts. He gets thrown off of ledges and thrown into ladders that don't plan on bending in the first place. He throws himself into them. He'll be all right. It's like Darby Allin. I swear to God, I thought that dude blew both knees out trying that skateboard off the ladder onto the other ladder. And I was like, well, that's the end of my man's career.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, here he comes. I'm like, what? How are you walking? You have no knees.
I thought for sure at the end, when it kind of, the smoke had kind of, the bodies were laying, the smoke had cleared, we would kind of get Cage climbing to the top, about to win. I thought maybe we get Darby coming down the skateboard, for one last heroic hurrah, but that's just a Darby fan.
To be honest, man, I'm amazed. I'm amazed by the end of that match he could walk out. Like, there were some guys, like Joey did some crazy shit, and because Joey does some crazy shit, but that whole, and there were some crazy moves, but nothing topped that whole Darby coming off the ladder with the skateboard. I'd never seen that before, and I was honestly kind of hoping it would work. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, this is gonna work. Oh shit, it didn't work. He's dead.
That match was filled with so many crazy spots. Man, props to every competitor in that match. All of you guys. I hope you're at this moment you're in some kind of like hot tub with ice or something, because
they got Matt.
I'm just aching just watching them.
They got Matt Hardy to bring him down and shove him in the ice cooler like Santana. Just here you go. This will help with your.
Did we ever see Santana come out of there, or for all we know, he's still frozen?
He's gonna be frozen there next week on Dynamite. They're gonna cut to that cooler. Somebody's gonna take the broom off and open it up, and he's gonna be in there like a block.
Dude, I want to see like next week him like sitting there like all like shivering cold. Like he got a cold from being in the ice box. Like run with that, dude. That was hilarious. I tell you, that main event. I'm gonna be talking about this match for a long time.
No, I hate to, and I know we got a little off track, but I had to talk about Cody. That was a great moment, one of the many. But do you have an ugly moment that you could give to us before we just kind of chit chat a little bit and get the heck up out of here?
Just a Tyson sleeping, man. Just Tyson, catching him at the wrong moment, at the wrong time.
There was one other small ugly thing is when they updated you on Britt Baker's condition and you felt bad. And then they said, well, next week she's going to come out and talk to you about it. And I was like, no, don't let her talk.
But hey, how amazing was it that little line with the doctor about
the patient is more annoying.
Yes, the injury wasn't as bad as the actual patient.
The injury's not as bad as the actual patient.
I totally did it in my head. My head went there. Britt Baker at the doctor's office saying, like, are you sure that's clean? And did you wash your hands? Like, the total bitch, dude. That was hilarious. But yeah, that was
slightly ugly. So I figured I have to throw that out there too. But now that we got that out of the way, I know we touched on it a little bit, but that whole Brian Cage moment. I know Thursday we're gonna have to try to keep Brucey calm because we have special guests, and he can't sit here and run his mouth about Brian Cage all damn night.
But Bruce should have said, "I told you all."
I told you. I even told him in the discussion thread tonight. I was like, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So come at me when you got 16 titles. That's the end of that. You can shut people down real quick. How many titles you got? Oh, right.
Quick highlight from that match. There was a brief interaction that we saw Cage and we saw Luchasaurus. They faced off.
Yes.
And I've seen them go at it at Bar Wrestling. And these guys, that was maybe a year or so ago. So with the fact that they've grown and they've been able to like hone their talent.
Yes.
Oh man, I want to see these guys go at it.
I know. I swear to God, I don't know if you read the thread.
For the belt or for whatever.
They had that moment where they squared off, and I just typed out big capital letters. I was like, "Lucha Underground lives!" Like, yes.
You know what? and it's kind of like a feel good moment. I don't want to be that guy who always brings up the haters, but I don't know how many times I have to see morons type all petite wrestling. Oh, these
Oh
guys,
yeah.
they're under 6 feet.
Yeah.
They're not even 200 pounds. And
Yeah. What is this about? AEW
Cage
not.
and Luchasaurus.
I was gonna say,
These
what is
guys.
this whole raft of shit you've been talking about? AEW doesn't have big men because now they got, Luchasaurus, Brody King, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Wardlow, Hager. I mean,
What's
they've
this
got
guy's name?
plenty of
Ken's
dudes.
not too small of a guy either himself.
Yeah, I mean, 10's not too small either. That's true, but they have plenty of guys now that are like, well over 6'6" and well over
Yeah,
160 pounds. How big do they have to be?
Yeah.
You know?
And so when I saw that moment, really, like, I think like my mind, like a little mental fuck you to all the people that want to say, oh, they're just small flippy guys. Because either of these guys comes at me, and I'm definitely handing them my wallet, and I'm getting in that fetal position because these are some big guys.
Right.
In that moment, I like that. That
And,
was a little bit of foreshadowing for some great moments to come in AEW's future.
There have been, and they're not disrespectful about it, but there have been guys like Bully Ray and a few other people who compare AEW to ECW in a good way. Like, oh, AEW is what ECW would have been today. And it's just funny because throughout this whole show, I was having ECW flashbacks. And the first one was, as the mystery opponent hits you here, who can stop the path of Cage? And I'm like, Taz? And he comes walking out with Cage, and I'm like, oh. I was like, oh, Darby Allin, that's your ass. Sorry, buddy, I love you, but you've been fucking with Taz. Cage is gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I could, but I don't want to get my hands dirty. You deal with the machine. Oh. And then, of course, that matchup, the AEW title match, Moxley versus Brody. And Moxley picks him up for the paradigm shift and puts him into the ramp, and the whole ramp collapses. Again, immediately, I had flashbacks of like Taz and Bam Bam Bigelow in Jersey for the television title. It was just like, oh, wow, it happened again.
And that's the thing, like AEW doesn't like try to insult your intelligence as a wrestling fan. They'll give you these small little throwback, quote unquote Easter egg kind of moments that make you remember the good old times. And it's smart because it brings it crosses that gap, that bridge of like, I remember how awesome that was. Well, shit, this is pretty awesome right now too. And it's smart on their half. And as opposed to WWE, who wants to pretend that their history doesn't exist, what you're watching now is all that matters. There is no past.
Yeah,
whatever.
None of that stuff happened. Forget about it.
No
this is what we got now. And
with AEW, they feed off the past. They feed off of our nostalgia in the right way.
Yeah, they're not trying to put a guy like Goldberg, who clearly can't wrestle, back in a ring at a major event or put a title on him. They're trying to bring guys like that out to manage the next group of wrestlers.
Like I said,
you've got because you've got look at it now. You got Arn with Cody. You got Jake with Lance. You got still, even though he hasn't been around, you got Tully with Shawn Spears. Now you got Taz with Brian Cage. If that's not a lethal combination, I don't know what the hell is.
Yeah, and then you can't ignore the rumors or the speculation, the talk, the hubbub, the being Sting. He's the elephant in the room. Everyone's wondering, is he gonna come around? I can't help but mention that they brought up the Stinger Splash today, and it was like
with Cody, yeah, because he did it.
Coincidentally, they mentioned I thought maybe that's another name.
Whether
they
we
bring
did
him
too.
in or not.
We were saying like we were saying during that ladder match, it wouldn't surprise us at all if Darby was in trouble and all of a sudden the lights went down, and when they came up, Sting was standing next to him in the ring with a bat, and he just started hitting the rest of the competitors with a bat so Darby could climb that ladder. Because the two of them together make a perfect fucking match.
New evolution of Sting. What about Sting with only with the Darby only half face paint type thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I brought up something like that. I said, Darby could have like his one half, and then when Sting takes him he does like the crow side on the other hand. Like the
Something,
crow
right?
sting thing. Like that would be cool as hell. But it obviously didn't happen, and maybe Sting will come around at some point. You know, maybe this is something they're planning for Dynamite. I don't know. I'm not saying it was a missed opportunity, but it could still happen. I really thought it was going to happen tonight, and it didn't. I don't know. Like maybe Sting's
Especially
just,
with the expectation that you're asking your fans to spend $50, which a lot of us did. That would have been one hell of a payoff. I think that would have sent fans home. Not that fans didn't go home happy, but if
no.
you had motherfucking Sting coming out,
That's the thing. Again, I've said it time and time again. Like when you watch a WWE pay-per-view, they're like, okay, we'll see you in 2 weeks because we're gonna have another show. But with AEW, it's like you watch Double or Nothing. They're not gonna give you anything till like All Out in like August.
yeah, December.
So you're paying $50 every 3 months. You know, if you break that down, you're paying maybe, you know, $13, $14 a month to watch these pay-per-views as opposed to WWE with the $9.99. And it's really not that bad. When you think about it, if somebody said, okay, for $4 more a month, you can get every AEW pay-per-view, sign up for the streaming service, pay $13.99, I'd do it. You know, so it's not like WWE where they're like, oh, it's this one, and then 2 weeks later we got this, and 3 weeks later we'll be back with this, and 2 weeks after that we got this, and you know, they just throw everything at you every few weeks. Where AEW is like, no, we do this, we'll be back in 3 or 4 months with another show. Until then, you can catch all our shit on on TNT and YouTube. We're good.
And the thing is though that they're able to like keep that interest. They can have a pay-per-view every 4 to 5 months, however, but still put on good shows in between. With WWE, they'll give you a pay-per-view every month, and they're like 3 weeks, 4 weeks in between is garbage. They can't even sell you on their shows, which are free on the network. AEW, they're able to spread their storylines out, get you invested, have you tune in week after week to see what's going on.
Let's put this the way that it is now. Could you imagine if somebody like went to WWE Creative and said, okay, we're not doing pay-per-views like we did anymore. We're going to do them every 3 or 4 months. We got to have these storylines that build for months on end.
Gonna do it.
Could you imagine like just the smell of smoke as they're thinking, just, maybe I gotta go. Like, I don't think they could do it. But AEW somehow manages to pull it off. You know, I'm not saying they're perfect because I already brought up some shit that I didn't like. But overall, the show had so many feel-good moments between Cody and then Taz coming out with Cage, you know, and just all kinds of, you know, even that match with Mox and Brody, when he got his belt back, you almost felt good about it because he literally went to war with this dude and had to put him to sleep just to take back a title that he didn't lose.
and you know what? Another little I'm gonna pile on about the great things that AEW is doing. How different and amazing did that set look with the big, you know, the slot machine and the poker cards and the chips? It was way different than what we're usually seeing on Dynamite. Whereas with WWE, Monday Night Raw and the pay-per-view look nothing. There's no difference.
They look exactly the same.
It's the same ramp. It's the same
now,
aisleway. The same everything.
Granted,
AEW realized that this is a special event. It's like going to your grandma's house on Easter. She's gonna have the flowers up and the eggs, the decoration.
It's all the same from the year before.
You're gonna have, they're gonna decorate. They're gonna make it feel special. You're there
and then
for
you're like, oh, at least you tried. You know.
Yeah. AEW, like they threw the chips, they threw the set. We saw Moxley and Brody fighting through cards, and
it doesn't hurt.
Made it matter.
It doesn't hurt that the company's owner happens to own, you know, part of that stadium they had the Stampede in. That doesn't hurt either. When you can pretty much just open that place up, bring the cheerleaders and the mascots and have all the pyro and let them fight all over the stadium because you and your father own it. It definitely helps, but that's the point. It's like, if you've got it, use it. Don't just sit here and give us something that looks exactly the same and say, oh, well, now we're charging you extra for this, or this is a big deal, because It isn't. That was one of the things that I enjoyed about the Money in the Bank match, was at least they went to Titan Tower and at least they did something different. And it was like, all right, you're trying something. You didn't exactly hit on every point, but you tried. It wasn't just the same old show the whole time. You actually did something different. Same thing with the Boneyard match. Same thing with the Firefly Funhouse. Like, it wasn't exactly perfect, but I can see you're actually trying at this point. Whereas before, even the shows like Raw's leading up to WrestleMania, they're like, oh, we're gonna have one match and then we're gonna play some hour-long Royal Rumble you've already seen or something else. And it's like, wait, can I just watch that on the network? Like, why am I watching it now? So they seem to be trying to figure it out, but AEW already kind of realized, like, if we've got it, we're gonna use it. We got wrestlers. We're not. They're not wrestling tonight. Let's line them up in the crowd. And let's let them heckle and gamble and turn that into a story in itself. Would there be a Pineapple Pete without that? Like, they created that as thin air because they stuck the guy in the crowd, and all of a sudden Chris Jericho started talking shit about him, and it became a gimmick. Like, he's got a shirt now, Like, that's what AEW. We have this. Let's use it. And WWE is starting to figure that out. I'll give them a little bit of credit because it's due. But AEW knew that all along. If we've got it, let's use it. If we can get Brian Cage, if we can surprise people, let's do it. If we can bring in a few fans, not a packed house, but just bring in fans in the back off in the distance so they can cheer and chant, and you can kind of feel, because that was another feel good moment, a pay-per-view. And people are actually in the crowd, like, cheering and chanting, and you can hear it, and you're like, oh, my God, there's hope. Maybe one day I'll be in that crowd. And you need that kind of shit right now.
It's different seeing the wrestlers, actually celebrate with real emotion, with people cheering them on, as opposed to the performance center where they're, celebrating to an empty void of crickets. Like, it's night and day with the AEW presenting to us.
It went away. I'm sorry, I just saw Kristen is watching. Hi, Kristen. Good to see you. And now I can't even find the live feed. That's fucked up. I know it's still on there because I can see it right there, live on Facebook. But yeah, AEW's had this mentality of, like, we've got it, let's use it. WWE's finally starting to figure that out, probably from watching AEW. But it's all these, and there's all these good moments in the midst of it, and you're just like, man, this is nice, this is cool. Like, there's fans there. We don't have to, again, with AEW, like, okay, we don't really have to open this up to fans, but if we can get them tested and they're cleared, we can bring them back here, tell them to do this or wear masks or whatever, and they'll do it because they want to come to a show as bad as anybody else. And it's not like they have to, but they're doing it anyway. And I like that. It's it's something, that even it's been rumored and reported that, like, oh, WWE is going to put wrestlers in the crowd, or they're going to try to bring people and put them in the back row or something like that. And it's like, wonder where you got that from. Sounds familiar. I don't know. It's late. I can't think. Maybe tomorrow. But overall, I think this was definitely a good show, and I'm glad I spent the $50 on it, to be honest. And
sad to be honest. I'm gonna admit, I'm sad that they didn't get a chance to go to Las Vegas. I'm sad they didn't get to go in front of 15,000 streaming fans, because with the product that they gave us today, I can guarantee that all 15,000 would have been screaming their asses off. They would have loved the show. Brian Cage would have got an amazing pop. Cody would have got an amazing pop. Whether or not they would have been able to pull off that stadium stampede, I don't know. But regardless,
I'll tell you, I think the only
fact
reason
that they could have showed such growth filling up the MGM Grand arena again would have been amazing.
I think the only reason they couldn't pull off the stampede is if they had that stadium, like, packed, like, sold out, watching that show. Like, it, if this was not COVID and dark plague times, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I think they could have honestly had that whole stadium sold out. And at that point, you can't really fight in a bar because there's people in there trying to get drinks and doing whatever.
Yeah.
You can't really fight in the pool because there's people in the pool hanging out. You're going to say every fan that jumps in there gets reincarnated to their former selves? Because if so, I need to jump in that pool because I'm getting old and brittle. It's ridiculous, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie. I'm getting old and brittle, so I needed to jump in that pool right quick and go back to like my old psycho self. I got the Jenko still. It works.
But hey, you know what? Here's looking forward to the next show. They've announced September. What is it? All Out again, right?
All Out again. Yes,
Yeah.
that's gonna be.
They got.
That
They're
should
looking
definitely
hopeful,
be
right?
off the hook. You can kind of, I don't know if they set them up the same way because Double or Nothing, like they had the Casino Battle Royal. All Out, they had the women's. I don't know if now what if we end up getting like a women's casino ladder match? Since we got, like last year at Double or Nothing,
Division, they could
we
do
got
it.
the Battle Royal, and then at All Out, we got the women's Battle Royal. So this year at All Out, maybe we end up having the women's casino ladder match. That would be pretty damn amazing.
Did they give a location? I think I missed that part.
I don't think they gave a location yet because it's hard to know like where
what
what
they open.
venues are going to be available at what times, and, that kind of. Because even as you get into September, maybe football season is going, so you can't exactly turn around and say, oh, we'll just use TIAA because the Jags might be in there, So I don't know. I don't think they gave a location, but they definitely announced that they'll have All Out in September, and I'm looking forward to it. Like I'm looking forward to Dynamite next week. Like let's just get to Wednesday now. I know it's already technically Sunday for me, so let's just get to Wednesday.
We'll sleep and wake up to Wednesday.
Oh man, but I think. I'm looking. I think that was pretty much everything I had. Did you have anything else on this show, or you just?
I think we covered it all. Hopefully, like we mentioned earlier, Britt Baker out. Hopefully, wishing her a speedy recovery as well.
Yes.
Ray Phoenix out, taken out with that guy landed awkwardly. We all saw it last Wednesday. So, same thing. Just wish him a speedy recovery.
Yeah, that's another one. Like if Phoenix wasn't injured, I was thinking have Sting manage the Lucha Brothers and give it like that dark master feel, like Vampiro was with Pentagon in Lucha Underground, and just have that little feel, and they could go, because obviously we saw what it did for Pentagon Jr. in Lucha Underground. So to have that with that dark tag team, and you got Sting backing them up with a bat like that would be.
Having pesos.
Like, yo, Tony Khan, call us. We got ideas. We can help you. I don't know how much, but we can help you. Brucey had that idea about Brian Cage so many months ago. He's finally going to be able to pay off because he's just a kid at Christmas about all this shit. He gets one name in his head. First, it was Marty Scurll. So everything was AEW, Marty Scurll, AEW, Marty Scurll, AEW, Marty Scurll. And then it didn't happen, and he was so pissed. He's still pissed. And so, you've already heard it now work, just from the shows you came on when you were a fan to now, it's just been Brian Cage and AEW, Brian Cage and AEW. And I'm like, dude, stop. What if it doesn't happen? Like, you're going to be mad again. There's no point. Like, you can't, I get mad in the moment, but then I let it go because I'm a grown up. I'm not going to sit here and be pissed all day, every day about some wrestler. But man, he finally in May, he got his Christmas present. So congratulations, Brucey. You got Brian Cage and you won the ring. You're going to wake up a happy guy tomorrow.
But now the Top Rope fans, they got to tune in to see who's Bruce going to ride next. Who's he going to be? Who's the next name that he's going to manage in AEW?
Well,
that'll
that'll be another date because I'm not having it next Thursday because, as I said on the pre-show, and I'm going to say again, if you guys in Top Rope or on YouTube have seen these videos about the invasion, if you've seen little memes saying, GS meets Top Rope and all this stuff, and you didn't quite pick up or understand, next Thursday we will be interviewing Griff and Scorsese from Flip Squad. And they are a tremendous hip-hop group that uses wrestling in their beats, in their rhymes, in everything they put out there. And they are dying to come on with us. We are dying to have them to talk about music, wrestling, their influences, even maybe some of the problems they have with the industries, whether it be music or wrestling. So we're going to go get real deep and in depth with them next Thursday. I am working my damnedest to get this live recording on YouTube. We tried it for a pre-show and it did not work. And even Wendy looked up and said, you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to do the other. And I had already done it all. I'm like, okay, what do I do next? She says, I don't know. It should just work. But it isn't. So we're going to get that all squared away. And hopefully Thursday night, 8 p.m., we will be broadcasting live on YouTube with Griff and Scorsese as the invasion begins. So definitely, if you haven't yet, subscribe to Fox Den Productions on YouTube. You're going to see a lot of shows on there, not just this one. And get ready. Tune in 8 o'clock live, and hopefully I will have it up. If you don't see it there, you are definitely going to see it in this group because it will be put out there. We want to get fans involved. We want to try to get your questions in for these guys, for us, so we can make the show even better. But until then, like I said, Fox Den Productions on YouTube. Go to @TopRopeWT on Twitter. You're gonna love that place. We've got like well over 100 followers now, which I'm like, cool. Because we started out, we had like 2, and it was like a month, and I was like, this ain't going so well. So it's definitely picked up. And then there's the Instagram that Brucey set up, which is @top_rope_wrestling_talk. And he set this thing up like a week ago, maybe, not even. And we already have like 50 followers. People are, atting us, and it's cool. It's blowing up pretty quickly, and we've got a lot of nice memes like Evil Evan originals, because we know this man drips with just creative machismo all day, every day. And even some of my silly shit, because I mean, look at me, I'm good at silly shit. And a lot of fun, a lot of good times on all those platforms. Please come follow us. If you're not into the whole video thing, because you're like, damn, that dude Dom is ugly, or I can't keep my eyes off Evil Evan, he's so gorgeous, then maybe you're better off checking out our podcast platforms. And we have a lot of them. You can find them all at anchor.fm/TRWT. Our website's going to pop up. You're going to see a bar with like at least a dozen platforms or more. Everything. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, you name it. And we are also now on iHeartRadio, which is cool as hell. You can check us out on demand there too. You just go to iHeartRadio, you search for Top Rope Wrestling Talk. I will try to leave another link up in here because I put one up and I lost it. So I will try to get another one up in here. It's a very cool thing. We're definitely starting to take off, and I appreciate that. And it wouldn't happen without any of the guys in this group, because that's where it all fucking began. Through thick and thin, there have been a group of guys in here and a group of gals that have just stuck by us and supported us 100% for a couple of years, and even in some dark ass times. And we somehow managed to bounce back, more than double our following on Facebook, grab all these people on Twitter, grab all these subscribers on YouTube, get all these people to follow us on Instagram. But it all came from here. So I hope you all enjoyed Double or Nothing. I want to thank you for all the support, not just now, from day one, baby, because I've been here with you. And so from the first and greatest champion ever to grace the stage in this bitch, and of course, my evil friend Evan, we will see you Thursday with our special guests.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your kids. We had kids on 2 straight shows. Go figure. These shows.
All ages.
Right? You should see Drunk Upon a Time. There was a baby on it. A baby. Like my man's holding a baby, and my other buddy is in the screen above him taking bong hits. I'm like, great, bong hits and babies at the same time. But that's another story. And that's already up on YouTube. You can go watch it if you want. Have a good night, y'all. Get some sleep. We love you. Peace.
Buddy.